entry-level Lexus hybrid. The HS250H is no longer around, so this is your only option if you're looking at this end of the Lexus lineup and you need a hybrid. It is the CT200H, and we like a lot about it because it's pretty fun to drive as long as you're not in a hurry. And by that I mean it handles well, and the steering is pretty good. It handles flat through the corners. The steering is pretty direct, especially if you have it in a sport mode. It offers an eco, a normal, and a sport mode. And sport mode firms up the, weights up the electric power steering a little. So it's not bad in those regards. However, you're still stuck with the 1.8 liter Atkinson cycle 4-cylinder borrowed basically directly from the Prius. And if you push it, if you're in a hurry at all, it gets really loud and quite rough. And it's not a pleasant experience at all. So if you're in a hurry, this isn't the vehicle for you. But we are returning about 38 miles per gallon. The EPA rates us at 43 in the city and 40 on the highway, so pretty strong numbers. And then also, it's not a bad value, especially if you're looking to get into the Lexus ownership experience. This vehicle starts at about $31,000, and then fully optioned like ours, about $38,000. So we can't fault it on the asking price either. And the inside is a bit of a mixed bag. We like a lot about it. It's pretty driver focused, which we're fans of. Nicely, deeply bolstered sports seats, a nice thick rimmed 3-spoke steering wheel. Actually, if you're a little taller like me and the seat's back a bit, the armrests are very comfortable. I noticed that right off, very soft on the elbows. However, there's a bit of a design flaw because if you're shorter and you're a little closer to the steering wheel, you're going to be resting your right elbow on this hard piece of plastic that wraps around the cup holders here. And it's not going to be very comfortable. I can foresee that already. So we're not quite sure why they didn't figure out a way to pad this. Maybe all the Lexus engineers are over 6 feet. But anyway, design-wise inside, there's no new ground broken here at all. It's very, very basic. The stereo controls are just completely bland. Of course, we don't really understand the need to divide the park function of the CVT transmission from the other functions. Basically, if you're parking, you have to press a button, but then when you're selecting your gear, you move this little joysticky thing up here like the Prius has. I don't care for any of that gimmickry either. Another thing that we really can't get behind, and it's throughout the entire Lexus lineup, is the mouse controller interface that Lexus is using now to operate the nav system and climate control and that kind of thing. Actually, we thank them for putting dedicated climate control buttons in, but you can still do everything through the nav system with this little mouse controller here. Then you have to click on the enter button. It's not efficient when you're trying to drive down the road. You know what you want to select, but you've got to move through all this dead space to get it. I don't see how it improves anything over a nice touchscreen setup, so we could do without that in a heartbeat. There's a couple other smart design features here. Again, as we mentioned, if you are in normal or eco mode, you have the leftmost gauge in the cluster is kind of an efficiency gauge from charge to eco to power. However, if you turn it over to sport mode, it's kind of cool. It turns instantly into a tachometer, and of course we'd rather know that information anyway, and it's pretty trick. We like it. The lighting turns red, the interior lighting kind of comes off on a red shade. I guess it means that you're serious about going slow, because as we mentioned, 0 to 60 takes 9.8 seconds. Overall, though, I really like the way it drives. If we have to choose one or the other, I guess we're happy that it handles well, because those are kind of properties that you can exploit a little more on public roads without risking speeding tickets. So, you know, it handles well, and I'm happy with that. I don't care for the 5-door design in this actual package. The rear 3/4 really is my problem, I guess. It's kind of an odd number of shapes. There's this little window back there on the side that it doesn't help alleviate the blind spot in here either. So it just needs refined. Maybe the second generation will improve that. I hope they do. But above anything, what they need to improve is the powertrain. The CVT we do not like. It is sluggish off the line. It's sluggish everywhere, actually. And it only exacerbates the shortcomings of the engine. And by that we mean if you're asking for any kind of passing power or anything, the CVT will go right up into 4,500, 5,000 range. on the RPMs, and that is not a fun oral experience in here. The Ferrari is on one end of the spectrum, this engine is way at the other end. So we're in a 5-door entry-level premium vehicle here. There is no direct hybrid competitor, so if you have to have a hybrid powertrain and that's important to you, this is going to make you very happy. If it doesn't, it actually holds its own handling-wise with the competition, which is probably the Audi A3, maybe a Volkswagen Golf optioned up, something along those lines. But for us, we just really couldn't put up on a day-to-day basis with the droning engine and the unresponsive CVT. Maybe if they could figure out a way to put an automatic in there or a dual clutch or something like Audi does, we'd really give it a lot more points for the sport that it pretends to be, the sporty vehicle that it pretends to be. But as is, at least the value is right. And like I said, if hybrid is important to you, you're going to be very happy in this Lexus.